Thank you.
Chudan zoje jona amla janjo bardo dane gyabzo je dage je so gebe zona amje dola benje sanje dola sanje chudan zoje jona amla janjo bardo dane gyabzo je dage je so gebe zona amje dola benje sanje dola ye jodan zo ye jona amba janjo bardo dani gyabzon je dage jikso gebe sonam ge dola benje sanje dola shu simje tamje dewa dan dewe gyodan dembo Simje damje dunge dan dunge gi yudan dewa yuje simje damje dunge meben dewa simje damje nire chada nida dabe dan yama para yuje simje damje dewa dan deve yudan demba yuje simje damje dunga dan dunga ye yudan dewa yuje simje damje dunga Dewa da minda wa yuje zemje damje nire chada nida dabe dan yama ne para yuje zemje damje dewa dan deve yudan dembo yuje zemje damje dunga dan dunga ye yudan dewa semje damje dunga meben dewa da minda wa yuje zemje damje nire chada nida dabe dan yama Wara yuje sa ye pege jose me do dama jira tenshi ninde nyamban sanye jindo mi de wa yin dugen namda jingwa chukara sho hidama guru rana menda Gaya daya yi. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from vice, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separate from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from vice, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separate from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from vice, attachment, and anger.
This ground anointed with incense, strewn
Visit
strewn flowers. Now
the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine as Buddha land, and by offering it to you, may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Thus, meeting the teacher of the fearless teacher is due to the spiritual mentor's kindness. I decided this virtue for all living beings to be cared for by the excellent spiritual friends. Edam Guru Ratnananda Brahmaya Ayami.
Okay, let's start. Okay. 다 드린 게 저지데 근데 니 것도 쓰라.
Oh,
이마이다 다니 지단에 타고 저거든. 다 남배 중라 장만요지 장만요가지 임바이나 이 타니에도 그가 또도 갈래 가고 요래서 에 이마이나 다 드린디나 기도 요가디 차단 올라다 gengi bejatin yo kyangjar alse
mm,
imayda daga tji shira nangas ke gi mare sab
yes.
imayna tange tanda a di yawar je sumucha yo tanda tebde thone tebde chima jijin jine duzma de she gyan do bayna to mambo de sha chide chi chini na lo ko zoya de sarya re mindo ene to chadanji ta tude 이게 남자 지은 거래. 대니기 남자한테 들은 넘어 상입에 중나라. 그다음에 시긴데서 계속 건가를 내서 야와이나. 가보를 남상 영화에 지금 로지 주요 말했어. 이마 인상에 단다디나라. 이 저장진 도도로 보면 뒤에 도스마. 지금 니리도 보진도 대세 야고 상서로. 다 된대세 야외 때라 데젠다부터 진행을 뒤에서니.
Yes.
림바지로.
Yes.
네, 림바지 당보도 가래서 봐이나. 당보 대니 좀ben 도랑 텐주기에네 베 대니 손자긴 도랑 텐주기 그래서 가와가와니 손거를 되게 롱자나면도 콩자나면도 때 럽지 돌디지 도스마 모데지기 인스
Yes.
아니 니바텔라 다데니 셰고베 юм전 가르레스 로
No.
되게 돈이 지게 아니 숨바텔라 데니 다데니 조출 다덴바니 제데 자바이나 자출 컨디스 자게데 로
Yes.
kunigin 조절지 도스망고도 도디 책이 인스 테네 지바들라다 다데니 송바나 데니 가와니 중거래 데니 송사데 수레 송바고 상기르와
Okay.
상기 좀 된데게 아니 주기 본부 예리지동 송되나 데니기 남자데 도스마 데만이단 데베도 가서지 송바이나 송바데 탐제 데니단 데베고니 송바르 모다 데니단 만데베는 송주나서 지가 매팅나 데니게 다 상기기 상기자한테 간데스 중바를 때다 루유기자는도 남다르자는도 이게 제남을 없어진 도르지도 좀
Yes.
모르지 인스
So today's topic, as you know, is true truth, and generally speaking, somebody who is not familiar with the Buddhism, it's a little hard to understand this kind of technical term. But it seems that most of you here are, seems to probably familiar from previous late Geshe-la's teaching, and therefore shouldn't be that kind of difficult, hopefully. And if we follow kind of the same ways that His Holiness taught in this book, it's a lot, it's a lot and very kind of condensed, and usually true truth are explained through the interpretation by four schools of Buddhism, four tenet school, and if you go by age, it would be kind of it become technical and more difficult to understand. So therefore Geshe-la would like to kind of present you the essence of this chapter, and obviously you can ask questions later. And so in this essence, he would like to kind of talk on four kind of section. First, beginning with the sources or origin of the True Noble Truth, such as where it comes from, Buddha's own teaching, as well as discourses or commentaries by great Indian masters. And then secondly, the reason why, presentation of true truth to begin with. And then third, how true truths is presented in Buddhism, and kind of introduce on that part. And then on the fourth, he would like to kind of talk about, the presenter in this case, Buddha himself is the one who, taught this, came up with the true truth. And whatever Buddha's teaching that he gave, 84,000 heaps of teachings were all related with the true truth. There's nothing that is not, connected or related. So therefore, kind of, briefly about, Buddha or his kind of, life story related with the true truth.
No.
No.
다지도 지다 내니 저다 방봉아서 너와 상계비 중 직본이 송구여를 네 두다마 현다기 중에 돼서 내니가 남자들 송구여를 야만 다 상계 좀 된데 지된도 마페 몰라 지금 줄로 다 두다마 한다면 망부여 되거든 단에도 좀 배저 당기여 말해서 봐이나 네 대공라 다 남비 상계 좀 된데 지된도 마페 공라 줄로 받아 두다마 대속에 zembazenji tanya beje tango res zembaze tanya tango de ina zembatela zemba ni zene zo yewa cheagi tanya de zo yo halja yo mares ina ya zembaze da de gongla jinga zo ge tarba ze da korwa ze do da ana jin gom ge ge de gom de zo da ane semni ge ze tanga ga yo res de zo ganga de gong ne ko tanya de beje yore beje tangu yore so ina yang zemba ni ze de tanya beje tanya de thoma sangi 좀 den ji den de chen ne sangi gi chen gor sung be yesu beje tanya ji do se cha bare de na ne ta dondan zemba ni de la yewa chi ne dondan zemba da kunzo zemba ne yewa chi ya de ta nama sangi be jung ge ta tumu mai be ke chi ji de
So true truth, if you look at the sort of history of the true truth, whether true truth, the concept and the terminology that was used in Buddhist here, whether this terminology and concept is something that is unique to Buddhism or something that is common with non-Buddhist school of philosophy, religious system or not. Prior to Buddha's coming, there are many well-established school of philosophies, religious systems, faith, and these that term terminology such as truth, and then liberation, cyclic existence, meditation, 8 kind of stages of mental abidings. These terminologies were already kind of common and used, but related with the truth, and specifically kind of this very decisive sort of category, true truth, is something that came into existence after Buddha's, what we call turning of the wheel of dharmas, after Buddha's teaching. So we can say that true truth is something that is very unique to Buddhist teachings.
인반자 다 넘버 30의 중에 다니던 배제 단계에는 넘버 30의 중나라 대전다 태매의 니고 대전 태매 대적에 도대전은 다 토마 산지게 랭이기 지데 지 손안데 갈라 태매니 되대전나라 수샤바 또 뉴뉴이 사레스 여바이나 송여바이나요 뉴뉴마도 송매바이 사레 다 대진이 도나라 도 마페나라 대진이 도 마페나라 랭이기 지데 배제 망보 당낭위에서 여서래 또 텐주나로라 태명이 텐주나라 치수 대진이 되나라 랭이기 지데 배제 당산이 줄라 다 태명이 텐주나로라 디 랭이기 지데 배제 망보 다니다 태명이 다 조다마와데 저기 순난 거래스.
Yes. And when you look into a Buddhist teaching and system, the using of, especially the usage of this true truth. Obviously, we have greater vehicle and lesser vehicle, Mahayana and Theravada system, and it seems that initially in the sutra belonging to the Theravadan system, they don't use that much of this terminology or term, this true truth, and we find many more and more common in the Mahayana Sutra, Buddhist direct discourses. But later, when we look into the commentaries by great Indian masters belonging to these two vehicles, then we find more kind of these term used even in the lesser vehicles, Theravadan systems commentary you find, and their tenets and philosophies, we find many more kind of usage of the term true truth.
Besoda temengi tenjun la ta site beja tangi yevane temengi dena site tarang to sama beja tangbe ngeba da chaba yoma des imba ina yang chisun tas tejingi dena la dengi gi site beja mo ta sane jene ta nambe gi tutamen teju nalo la ta tutama jige nalo la site beja tane dembani gi jodan ta tutama jiga sozu gi 주택인 조단기 왕기 다지인 조단 미다와 림바 망보시도 중요해요.
So, however, saying that we find this true truth terminology often in the commentaries, in the commentaries of the Theravadan system doesn't mean that we find it same in the their sutra, and so later then because of its common usage in the Mahayana's sutra, we find now it becomes kind of common across all Buddhist school of thoughts, especially four tenets, and their four tenets came up with their own interpretation of the meaning of true truth, based on their own kind of analysis and understanding. So we have different interpretation of the true truth.
Ima sonza da tanda di khung de la da dengi gi nabjan sumbe sanyi gi thoma sanyi gi sumbe do khung de da do tangbo do mangbo yo re ta te na ne tanda dina do ji gi ji tu yes te yapsen je do je wa te de yapsen je do je wa te na lo la kari sung sha de na ji cha ba kun zo tang ton tang ba ni tu su chu ne shebar chala hai shebar chawa yang kun zo tang ton tang be den ba dir de do te kari sung do je ba na ti cha ba de chanju sa ba de zo sung go ro chanju sa ba de zo da sang yi go de be lo ma de zo ge kerang zo ge ne kun zo tang ton de me den ba ni she ne tambo ha go res ha go ne de ge namja nyamsu lam palan ju go res tunda da bote tere sha ro ta yapsen jawen do ja de kandi se chung bare ze wai na sangi chom den de ta tawi ge ta sangi chom den de ge churab zana me do lugi zan mo tenge ju de la ju samso tanda di do sunya de sula sum bare zana sangi chom den de rani gi yap ene yabo ze zang se yo ro ne yabo ze zang se lan do de sum bare ta kadu sum bare ze wai na sunya de sangi chom den de dal yabu khane ma kimi barab do chung lodu ka ta nerangene nam do lodu ka che ne ani doje den la sangi be chi su ta lodun gi je la ro lodun gi je la ani yabu khane yabu ze zang se ge ne sangi chom den de la di ka lo ta yang gyo chu lo ne phero ji yabu ka lo ne phero ji de ne ta yo de ne me do bogen 미땅 와 미땅네 대조가 상계라도 유대가 라네 상계 좀 되는 디기를 알로니 저저 되니지랑아데 용기 인이네 랜데캬 랭캬바네제네 갸벽칼라비 다지 할레베지 저베제라 소바티도 다리 세워제네 도지네 갸벽칼라 로네 페 다 야보다 Thoma Jal Kaptu Jalni, the Chin Dodi Sumbares.
Yes. So when we look at the origin of the true truth in Buddha's own what we call sutra, discourses, there are many sutras, but Geshe would like to kind of present you just one sutra, and this sutra, is called literally the meeting of father and son. Father and son meeting. It should have a Sanskrit word. Sutra of meeting of father and son, and in that sutra, it says that, it starts with the Sanskrit word, Tathagat, conventional truth and ultimate truth must be, understood or realized, and all are included within, this true truth. So Buddha, this one kind of sentence, when he says Tathagat, he refers to the bodhisattvas, especially, the followers around him. And the point here, the Buddha was saying that first you need to understand the truth itself, this true truth, and whatever you have understood, then later implement and put into kind of into the practice. So this is what he said in this sutra. And this sutra, the meeting of father and son, if you look at the sutra itself, how kind of this sutra came into existence. The father here refers to Buddha's own father, Father Shuddhodan, and at the place called Rajgiri. And later, as you know, Buddha kind of renounced and nearby river Niranjana, he cut off his hair and became fully ordained and gave up kind of lay people's livelihood. And then after 7 years of his kind of leaving his kingdom, he was once again requested by his father to come back to the kingdom, and father sent special messengers to Buddha, and then Buddha accepted that request. And when he went back after 7 years to Rajgiri, his father kind of arranged everything for his discourses of teaching. And at that teaching, the first meeting of father and son, Buddha taught this sutra, the meeting of father and son. And so this is how this sutra came into existence.
Sonza ta ten do de je ta Tenzin thobula chacha baina umu lundu bi uma tawa sharab ze yore ta ne jin palle lawata be uma juba la soba ne indi ki Tenzin mangbu na la yore kare sana tawa sharab na la kanda demba tingi ji nawi number me cheba teta sangi demba ni sami tingi na mi thong ze umu lundu ki kare sumba re sana zenyi ki namja di chima jijin do hama ko ba yina ma sheba yin ba yina number sangi be ne chuji ko de chag mares number sangi be chuji de kandi iminji tadaji kotu mare shedu mares.
Yes. It's easier to some Geshe.
Kanda demba tingi nami number me shebas zenyi ki namja de so nami tanga de do
and this shouldn't be so there was like one illustration of sutra. As I said, there are many sutras where Buddha came up with the true truth. And now if you look at the commentaries by great Indian masters, we find true truth explained in Nagarjuna's Fundamental Wisdom, one text, and then another text by Chindakriti, supplement to middle way path, or engaging in the middle way path. And in the Fundamental Wisdom, Geshe recited the verse, which I kind of told him, if he gave me the letter, I will post the actual verse in the Facebook. Maybe that's the best place, if you want to look up in detail. So he recited the verse, quote the first words, starting with, with the, understanding of this true truth. And, so the meaning of that one verse is, Nagarjuna is saying that if you don't understand the nature or aspect of the true truth, you will never get the sense of what Dharma is. So that was the, the essence or the meaning of that one verse by Nagarjuna.
Sonza ta te dan tela se tang mo lundu mare tanda palle lawata be go manju be na lola tanda karigo kunzo teni choya kabo yin yu ba ngambe gyabo teni gewe ngamba yi ndundo tani gewe lungi chudo ki gewe yundu gyato paro chodo roze tonda kari sungo na tagar zengi ki namza de chima jijin she ni ta nyamzo lamba la teni ane taba ta tamja jibe kobanzo indi top togire jezang tindi ji sanji yi kobanzo indi toba la go tangbo ane zengi ki namza zinde zengi ki namza de ta yang taba ji she gore zengi ki nilu to gore
Yes.
And
And also Geshe recited, the verse from Chandakriti's supplement to Middle Way Path. And I will just, ask Geshe did to give you the meaning of that verse and try to post that later on the Facebook. And in this, conventional truth itself, it starts with that word. And the point here that Chandakriti is saying is that, in order to have, genuine practice of Buddhism and to attain liberation and attain omniscient or enlightened mind, if you don't begin with the proper understanding of true truth, you won't be able to, achieve those results. So the point is very much similar to what Nagarjuna has mentioned in his text, Fundamental Wisdom.
다 되기다 림바 당보된 것도 사제다 마소나 사제 당보디 제로와
Yes.
다 사제니바데 대닌 조급이 김전제야 되로와
Yes.
대닌 조급이 김전 가르에서나 다 산지기 최선도 대만이 단대니 순거래 제가 최대 단계 대만이보 대나라 누구요레 누구이나 다 대만이제 자고 김전 산지기 통화순지 대니단 대니는 dü니 순거비 김전 가르에서 되나 가르에서나 다 대니기 남자데 질라 담보 질라나 율 차대로라 율데라 덴바니제데 마자베이나 데 냠수 람발라테네 율데 하고 로지요라
No.
율데 또베 로지
No.
로데기 가족에 칼로로 공벨도 다와라테네 근데 사기 고방 디부쿠니제지 토야지요레스 사기 다 남바 사기 비중네 남자 덴데지 다 지덴바니 람 탑신이 디부쿠니제데 다 지덴바니보 텔라데네 람 탑신이 된 저거 람 탑신이보 텔라데네 디부쿠니제데 톱기여바지 염전도 되네 대자고요레 임바자 지라다 덴바니기 남자데 마자바이나 덴바니라 템베 람데라 람 탑신이 제데 조투고 조사두고 말레스
Yes.
라 다 람 탑신이 제데 조네 람 탑신이 보데 냠수 람발라 때네 아니 다른 디부쿠니 제데 상기 고방 토바용도는 지에 슈구단 주구 랑던 추구단 전던 주구니 보데 말에 랑던 주구단 전던 추구니 보데 토베 인디부든지 토에 비금전 라테네 단 담바니제데 자고요레스
So with that, we'll consider done with the first point. The second point, the reason why true truth, position of true truth. As said earlier, everything that Buddha taught is related and connected with the true truth. And therefore, everything must be included within the true truth, every phenomena. So the reason here, when we talk about Buddhism in its kind of entirety, the framework, as you know, we have first kind of foundation of the basis, which is true truth, and then for that foundation, in order to sort of understand those two foundation, we have a path, that is method and wisdom, and by relying upon or implementing those two paths, method and wisdom, one can attain enlightenment. What we call Buddha body. There's a two Buddha body, forms of body. So, in general kind of framework, we have a basis, path, and result. So for the basis, true truth. For the path, we have method and wisdom. And as a result of implementing those two paths, one can attain enlightenment. The two forms of Buddha being, Dharma body and form body. And a form body is for one's own sacred benefit, and for others, a dharma body. So if there isn't, if there's no kind of position of true truth, we cannot posit the true, the method and wisdom, the path. And if there's no true path, we can attain the result. So with that kind of sort of nature of the connection, has to have, true in numbers or true truth.
다 인도가라 가르도다 배나 마족에 돈단 덴바다 다 덴바들라 돈단 덴바다 군조 덴바지 요거래 다 돈단 덴바다 군조 덴바자들라 지라 지율 코란라 아 가래저는 나랑도 소소교 제가 아 람라 마자게네 가자 지기도 사디고라 징어보데 코란 지마지 진지 통하나진데 돈라 니긴 아 두다미도 찬이 용거 다 마지데 어드네 다나 디컵도라 지 용기래로 와 살로 카살로 자기래 그 나라도 단다 통하나진데 덴바 나해지 다 밥이 냠자 상기기 율직바 임발랑 아주 다사기 율직바 임발랑 상기기 지들 지바네 때 지바나지 나야데 나돌라 나와나진기 밥이 냠자 상기라 때 난거 말에 밥이 냠자 이제 때 난거 말에 임바자 고 된대게 일단 낭줄다 내줄 미다와 니 여비 김전도 지니라 상기기 줄로나로라 낭줄 된대게 낭줄라 내줄 미다와 니 여바다 야마나 소소 계월라 나와다 밥이 냠자 이제라 나와니 이 미다와 여비 김전 될라테네 다 질러들라 덴바 니드네 자고와 텔라투고레스 이마인산 디다 된대고네 다 된이 나자 조이지어라 데이터 상기 넘버 상기 비중네다 지 투모모이 베케지 점으로 상기기 슈 손등을라 다 투모모이 베게다 개주도거든 개주도 지레스
The true truth, ultimate or absolute and conventional or relative truth. This true truth, when we talk about, the objective perspective, ordinary people, or we can say people who are not trained in Buddhist path, when they look at the things, the existence of the things, there is a true level of, say, perceptions, a true level of perceptions. And when we look at the things, one perception is as if kind of, the understanding of the reality. What we see is the reality. The another level is merely appearance, but it is not the reality. So there's a one kind of appearance to ordinary people, the way we look at the things, and the whole another appearance to the enlightened mind, or if we can say, specifically the mind of the meditative equipoise, omniscient mind. The object is the same, but the appearance of that object to ordinary mind and the appearance of that object to the omniscient mind is different, although the object or phenomena is the same thing. And so therefore, there is a kind of two basis, two foundation based on the, perception of the two perceivers. And and we can say that, the categorizing all phenomena into the nature of these two truths is something that is one unique quality in Buddhism.
Imazan digita gimzen delatene danyi namja jogo bi gimzen teres.
Yes.
Tawana delatembe danyi namja jogo yana ten jota karre jodul kandis jogo yores tarwa tanda tamba kandis la jogo yore kunzo tamba kandis la jogo yore ya karre tanda tamba karre kunzo tamba karre sa joen ta zevaina sikte indola ta danyi ki jodul de le ngore danyi jodul le tu chida ko the color that you'll cheba chetang you ne chita chawege Tupta Zed, Tupta Mewazi City, Kachati Ligores,
Yes.
Riva.
Yeah.
Jijila ko Chebachi Namja Della Tene, Tupta Ze Kachati, Tupta Mewazi. Ta Kaza Suzuki, Kazaki, Lola Tachi, Ramding Tasum Yavan, Tomen Mambo Yavala Tene, Chebi Tuptan Della, Kunyedam Nielu Mida.
Yes.
Indeed, Nielu Mida became the Tene, Tupta Mewazi, Tupta Mida Chai Teres.
Yes.
That then the Tezuki to them out Tezugita, Salin, Cheba Chiondola, Cheba Candis Chigo, the Vina Rota. Ta Penangazuki,
So we can say because of that reason, true truth is posited. And now moving next, so what is the true truth? Then, what are the true truth? Conventional and ultimate truth. What is conventional truth? What is ultimate truth or absolute or relative truth? Generally, we can say that in terms of how or in what ways things are investigated, their nature and their existence, because of the mode of the nature of the, investigation, we have different philosophical schools, with different tenets. And in terms of the, people who kind of investigate or, experiment or, analyze, the people perception levels are diverse. They are small, medium, great, or intense, and therefore, people who investigate, as a result of the level of their understanding, we have a diverse result based on the different levels of, say, the levels of intelligence or understanding, and therefore we have 4 different schools of thoughts and their interpretation, different interpretation.
Mazuki Dijero, Seriki to the Nala, Seriki Jitila Chebachi, the Bully La Chebachi, the Langamama, Seriba Tambotegi, Zabuli Pet or Zizil member la Toto. Color the Mazuki Wongi Yip of your Tempera. They didn't that mean the Sataki Hakum in the counter, Kizumanga Haku Tetola, or the Najing code Cheba Cheta Mira, yet go to the near the Mida Sonza, go to them as a Tanya Susuni, to them a Mida Chai chick. That what the Najing it that in Sangita Nambi to the Mayana, Chirobi to the Mayana. To them also to the Neta Minda in Gore. That Mazuki Jeba Kutuka, Jeba Candis Chigore Zavena, and Mazuki Pena, D shall want to the Gilas the workers of the deal Tabujila Mazu Jeba Jebaina. Roa. Tanang around to let Tumondo, Mazula, Suzuki Jeba Makaya Majing Angela, Mazumila Miki Count Tomate, Najin, te Zemba imbajing Azola Nangures. Roa. Mazola Zemba imbajing Dabujinangures. They now at the Najin Zemba Revezena, Rezenel love to your Kavoyore, or not the Zemba Marezena, Marevezena, the Zemba Marezene love to your Kavoyores. The Karichin is a vaina. Pena, Sangi Papa now Sangi Papi Tawatan, now and Nidan, Mazu is Tawatan, Mazula now and Pet Kagacha deores. Tawana Jing Josin D. Tendo, and Shelgi Pumpa Dindiji. Josie didn't do Savi could your marriage avena. A meba yamare yobares. Mazula now an engine your revezana. Mazula now at the Najinji, taken to your mares. Kumarzan did Josie to take which meva resent meva yamares. What imagine Sangila the Shaggy Bumbala Ziduala, Sangi Shay Bumbala Ziduala, Sangila now at the long, Mazuki Shepala Nawani, Nada Pet Kagacha there is. Jingo bit to Yen Yevere, Mazula Yevanajin, Zemba Rigo Mare. The Tindigi Chani, Ta Kazota, Odus Dichigores.
So based on these, we can say the level or intelligence of the observer, they establish their, result. And it was using example of, the observation of the planet Earth by science, and if you look back into the history, first science based on understanding of their level at that time, they have an observation of planet as something maybe oval, and then maybe kind of later they find more kind of precise. So it changes, the result changes according to the level of the understanding of the observer. And so therefore kind of same with the four philosophical or tenet system in Buddhism. Based on the observer's level of understanding, they came up with their own kind of consequences or the end result. And including Buddhism, all kind of external schools, they have their own mode or ways of observation, and they come up with their own kind of result of what they found through their ways of analysis or understanding. So Geshe was using an example of this glass cup with the lid in front of him. When we look at that a glass cup as an ordinary people without having any analysis, and when we look at that that glass, and whether that glass exists truly or not, the appearance of that glass to yourself, that glass appears to us as a glass on the table, and if we ask ourselves, is that glass real or not? And saying yes, it is real would be difficult decisively, and saying that it is not real would be also difficult and decisively saying. So, but then it does exist. Reality is it does exist. So the appearance of that same glass to the enlightened mind is completely different, although the glass itself objectively out there is the same glass that is perceived by kind of two perceivers, one by enlightened mind and another by ordinary people like us. And obviously, if you ask further, does that glass really exist on the table or not? Yes, it is. It exists. We see in front of us on the table. But however, the mode of existence, as it perceived to us, is the glass exists the way it appears to us. And now here, it doesn't exist the way it appears to us. The mode of existence is different. And again, the mode of existence to enlightened being is different. Therefore, it depends on kind of what we call, apprehension, the differences of the apprehension. Because of the differences or diverse, the glass appearance is different to the different minds. And so what appears to us ordinary people, the appearance is not reality. And in that way, we can say that, that appearance or perception is conventional or relative truth.
다양 배전바지 돈에 가서 줘봐이나 배나 미니여지로 미니여바지 니가 믹스 라 렘베베지네 밀스 다 자상 당다 여기 미니게 지기 미션 나보지건 지기 미션 비가 막아나지네 다 딜라 실공딜라 따바이나 라 미션 나보 건년되게 니 실공데 가르레샤 니 가르레샤더니 실공 나보지레샤들 라그레스 가르레잖아 그 미션 건데 바티기 콜 실공 나보마도 사디오라 실공 나보라 사고레 건 나도라 실공데 나보 난거마도 때 가르 난거 말이지 미션 막건년되게 사디오라 콜 실공데 가르레샤더비티나 실공데 가보레샤라 그래 봐 어때 내진기 그 갈로다 미시 미들라 딥제도 와라다 미실되기 딥데 여바인자 저거 나보 저거 미실 나보 건전인데라 나보 난거래 미실군 마이년데라 딥제지고 딥메바이 셀 미실되는 개그 메바인자 그 저거인데 지마지진나 건 자기가 건너 가려봐나데 다가는 난기거래스.
Yes. Another simple example would be, let's say there are two persons and completely healthy eyesight, and one is wearing a black glass. And if both the people look at this glass, the same glass, the one who is wearing a black glass will obviously say that this is a black, black because what he is seeing is black through his eyeglass, and the appearance of the same glass to him is the kind of blackish, not the the clear as the without glass. And the person who is not wearing a glass, when he look at the appearance and to his eye from the glass kind of, side, as well as what he is seeing is a clear, the kind of, usual glass. So to him, it appears kind of just, normal what it is, not kind of, the appearance. So we can see these two different appearance to, two different person looking at the same object.
이마인자 마란조 단다 소소케오 소소케오 되돌라 고 징오부질란 스타디오라 때고 칼로란 디브제기 디바지기 마리페 마란조 샘델라 마리페 디브제기 디바 마리발타고티기 디브데바 여바 인자 때 돈라 강 여바 때 돈라 여바 나지 가돌라 낭 두고 마데스 그봐 상기밥이 냠자 이실라 디브제기 디바데다 빵타바 송자 고 돈이니루 거기 내다 마마데 가리임 자데 고 내다 지마지지 니루 차단지 고 낭 두고 아래 또 두고 아래스 송자 수수키 로라 나와다 밥이 냠자 이실라 나와니 나줄 민다 이베 김전진에 수수키를 나वे 율데라 아니 율지바지가 임바이나요 텔로 군조 덴바스 아니 밥이 냠자 이실라 나वे 차네 나와데 니루 지마지진 난구이 바죠 테 덴바임 라 돈다 덴바진 또 시작고 아래스
So earlier, Geshe was saying, person who is looking at the glass with the eyeglass, black eyeglass is considered as a, object that obscure, the natural kind of image or natural kind of, the form or, of the glass itself. But the other person who is not wearing an eyeglass has no kind of, obscuring kind of, between the person and the glass. And so therefore, same kind of apply with ordinary people like us. When we look at the things, any phenomena, because of, now we can say obscurations that we have, because of the obscurations, we don't exactly perceive, the reality of the thing out there because of the obscurations. On the other hand, enlightened beings, since they have completely eliminated, all the obscurations, they perceive the reality of the things as it is in its kind of naked raw form. So they perceive, so the appearance of the things to ordinary people therefore becomes merely appearance, conventional truth. But the perception and appearance of the things to enlightened beings becomes the original, the real, and therefore the ultimate or absolute truth.
임바송자 당 아란 쪽에 소소키가 가자기 셜곤서본딜라 미시기 셜곤도라 스타디오라 디기 미시기 가졸라 디기 코조다 데니진도 디 알로르다 카도 데니진도 입 데니진도 언냠베 또바지 단거라 미시디기 또바지 단거리 오다 텐데베 또바디 라 다 가리는 거래서 왜나 그 갈로르다 실로네 시 유 미시디 그랑리 실로도 줄도 다죽 디니지 입당 카도당 저다다 대조가 지마지진 여반은 지 단담을 두대바나 진지 또바텔라 난기요레 어 딘디게 나와테 단담을 두비요레잖아 닐룰라 테 두비요레잖아 지로 딘디 아주 미실란 또발라 나와나진 두비요레잖아 두비요 말에테 이나야 테 샤구요레 가르진 고 지마지진 매바야나 율링원에 사원이네 매바되잖아 매바 말이스 매바 선상 그 덴바 자고이래 대전에 군조 덴바 스텔라 군조 덴바 자버레스 자 상기 파베기 유지 냠자 이시텔라 나와나이 지 나와나이진 어다 그 디브지기 디바 매바 선상 닐루 그게 닐루 엄마한테 가리면 차단지 닐루 차단지 나와나이진 그 돈을 내대요래 돈을 내요 인자 텔라 돈다 덴바즈도 자고레스.
Yes. So ordinary people like us, we used example earlier, wearing a black glass and looking at this glass in front of us, and we see kind of its shape, its color, and and with that seeing, we have what we call a conceptual image in our thought. We have a conceptual image of what this glass is, and that with that conceptual image, when you ask what that conceptual image is, we have, along with that, we have this kind of understanding that that glass exists independently out there by itself, self-sufficient existence of the glass. And that appearance of glass existing intrinsically by itself out there, if you ask, is that the reality or not? This is not reality, it's not the fact. So, but however, there is an appearance to, that kind of appearance to ordinary people, and therefore, therefore, it is a truth. So with that comes, conventional truth. It is a truth to the perceiver of that mind, but it is a conventional or relative. Now, from the other side, the enlightened's mind, or more specifically, meditative equipoise mind, when they look at the glass, glass appears exactly as its nature, the true nature, and the appearance or apprehension of the enlightened mind's mode of existence is the reality, and therefore that is ultimate or absolute truth. So that's how sort of true truth positive came into existence.
And Dorduna Kunzop Setiola Karizana, Kunzop the Karizigo Rezavena, Suzuki Maribe Pachagi Mari Padam Te Pachagi, Divadan Chepe Lochila, Lokunzop Zigores. Tivji Divadan Chepe Logi Navi Yul to Zemba in Bainza.
No.
Kunzop Ting or Lokunzop Ting or Zember now and Najin Yova Inza. Kunzop Dembas, Lokunzoba, de la Caris Ordana, Tivji Tivata Chepe Logic, Dorduna, Maranzo Suzuki, Tamal Gigi, Lokai Batella, Lokunzoba, Tivji Timata Chepas, Resigores.
Yes.
Tigi Jumzen Chene, Kunzo Dembas. Ta Pabinya Ichitabu, Ichajavana, Lokunzoba, Kola Tivji Timaka Kujio Mare, Timat Tanje Pansar, Salsarain. Sonza kola dipji tiba yomare tiba meba nejingi ko yuli nilu kang imba ichima chijin and nang tu yoba zig tu yoba sonza tindewe lotela lot dondamba zigore dondamba te ngor ta nilu la ne yoba sonza dondam dembaz dondam demba jogoti tendichires.
Yes. So in brief, conventional or relative truth is to ordinary people, whose mind is obscured by obscurations and its latencies or imprints, that mind is conventional, relative, and whatever appears to that mind is that the object becomes conventional or relative truth, and because ordinary people's mind are in reality obscured, by obscurations and unable to perceive the reality of the object out there. On the other hand, as said earlier, meditative equipoise, the enlightened mind, when they look at the object without any obscurations, because they have already eliminated, all obscurations, without obscurations, when they look at the object, they perceive object in its kind of, natural, in its kind of, what as it is, the suchness of the object, and therefore that, the perceiving mind is ultimate, and the object that perceives, the mode of perceiving is ultimate truth. So, and to that mind, to omniscient mind, what is perceived is the real truth, or ultimate truth, or absolute truth.
Oh, they che, that's one thing, break zero.
Yes. So you're just saying,
So that's your answer. Cha, chu. Or Tadus Chine, think you jibade, right?
no.
But jibade. The need them best, Sanyi, Temba Jungzul. Number Sanyi, Temba the countries Chumba, the need the tribute, Temba the countries Chumba, the re, jibade. That countries Chumba, the Jungusa, Jungundi, Sanyi Chumden, the Nyaji Latene, and Jungshabachirova. Then also German Gobache. Ona Tenda Sanyi Chumden, the countries Karre, Kadu Jumbare, Mamani, your Toma Mebanichi, Yoreve, Karre Zavaina, De Mare, Sanyi Chumden de Zavaina, Namangamatachi, Naranzodam, Chibachi Yang, Rua, and a Koana Kordeke, any Chadamosunda, Chedepen, Chedenge, Ota, Numoda Chedepe. Again, Sanji Chumden, the Ranila Imbayana, Tangazuki, Joji, the Pelane, Maranzola, Maranzol Tawadan, I don't know, take it, Tabe Topatella Nawani, the Najin Kozemba Zindagan, the Pachiba Imbayana, go Karzore. That the rings and law, Nidon. Nidon to Yaju Gavia Chagmide, Kevin Gavia Jed, that the Rini Tibelo Nidon to Yaju Gavia Conla, Conla, Yabu Capto Zorata, and Yabu Zedan said on Yum Yumala Zevan Nigi says to Yabuga and Shagiriche, and Yabuga and a Horian on the Yabu Pula Duzuma, Luminido, Ultam. Rimbe Lolo Nisagu Bordo Yabuga, Gelsi Chon, Tumoje, Say Tun, Maranzo that Jitengi, Job Halvajida, Chima Jijin Dusuma, challenge and Rode Genji, and a Rimbe go Chiwa, Kiwi Dungal, Gave Dungal, Nave Dungal, Chivi Dungal, Mila, that Dungal Chishoji is easy to go. And Dory do Nangi Migi Dungal Chishot with it. Tachi Kalor Tangazu, young me to be Dungal Zaura. She Tendigi Dungal, the Lakiga Nachi Dungal, Mizenanda, Dungal Chishot, Sigor, Tendigi Dungal to the Machi, the Undula, Telachi, Hajangitam Mizepada, Chi Dungal, the Tandegi, Ninjung, Shuchimbuji, Kivala Tenne. And Rimbe that they give a lieutenant, they let Tartap countries, Dungal, Teta, Tartap Yore, Yoma, Yama, Kajati, G. Lobjon, G. Kawani, countries, Targo, the Tartana, the Tola, a Yuland Chibares.
Yes. So we're coming to the fourth point, how true truth is related to the Buddha's teaching and Buddha himself. So there's no question about it all come down to historical Buddha Shakyamuni himself. And when we kind of ask about how or who is Buddha, whether he was Buddha from since the time beginninglessness, or he is something that later became enlightened. And so the understanding here is that at the beginning he's just like us, ordinary people in samsara, cyclic existence, with all kinds of afflictions, attachment, anger, ignorance, and the way he perceives things and the appearance that he has is exactly the same as that we have, the truth grasping or intrinsic kind of existence of things out there. The appearance is same. And then later we can say from this year, back into the history, 2687 or 88 years before, he was born to a king, Shuddhodhan and Queen Maya Devi as a prince, and a place called Lumbini. And at 29 age, he took, the kingdom, and princess took princess, had son, and he was basically just an ordinary regular person, just like us. And through his kind of life journey, then later when he encountered, what we call four most kind of obvious or prominent, human suffering: birth, aging, illness, and death. When he encountered those four, then he really kind of had, we can say, kind of intolerance, unable to endure, tolerate, and he sort of went into seeking, ways, method, modes, path, how to free from, such human kind of condition suffering, because these are, suffering that we have no choice but to deal with in our day, in our kind of, life's journey. And so to free and to attain kind of liberation or freedom from such, he engaged himself into all kinds of training, learning about, the ways of, the freedom from these four.
다 된대게 제가는 지기 동안 대졸에 다 지기 살아야 돼 봐지. 어다 살아야게 살아라. 살아 탑시 매바이나 소속이 라렌 따라이나 탑시에 해야 되겠지. 다 살아야 봐나 탑시 매나 제야 말와. 다 인바이다 대 살아 살다 당 탑시다 대조간가 짠리 두두한라. 다 텔 인지미지 타로도 코아들 동안 해가는지 동안 텔 마타나 신디 동안 지보 동안 용바이나야 팽기민도 개와 지만에 시구도 시비줄로 양로니 희야진도 예질로 양교로 동안 대단 해진게 다지 리도 소소 동안 돼서 된데도 좀 용준도 용고도 다이나 대졸이 땐도 거인한 게 동안 돼서 레 땐도 타답진도 하면도 제네 지운도라 타답 여바다 오다 지 델레 타르바 도스마 토야여 토비여 되바지 지드 지네 다 코알라 내중 수천보지 도스마 히 대케바텔 때네 다 야벽하네마 도스마 주내랑견님도 공기 딱 갈로다 솔펜자네미도 가서 따칭이되어라 따칭이는 냠도 아니베 마 주내랑견님도 배 주내랑견님도 배도라 딱 야보기다 서당 물다 따지 연절로 가래 여바데 참제하는 배지 차상 르단이다 대탐자 바 르단 이유네 다 르라지 레이터다 지부지 남네 지 도스마 루드카와 제 넘버레스
And as said earlier, he went into seeking the ways, modes, method how to free from such human conditioning, suffering of birth, aging, illness, and death. And he came to realize that there is a way to free from all of this, as well as there are methods and paths to do so. Otherwise, if you can free from them, if there's no path, then there's really no kind of purpose of knowing that, and understanding that if you don't free yourself from this kind of conditioned suffering, then he has to kind of go through the cycle repeatedly again and again in the next life, and in any realms, has to. So therefore sort of free himself from cyclic existence and its suffering. He came to understand there is a liberation and there is a path or ways to attain such liberation, and through that he kind of cultivated a strong renunciation And as you know, from Rajgiri, from his kingdom, he went to, river Naranjana with his, charioteer, and then he took off all his king's, ornaments like gold, whatever he's wearing, took everything off, gave it to him, and himself remained only in a kind of thin cloth. And then he moved into kind of, 6 years of, penance or meditation.
다 되게 로두가와 제바들라 되네다 동al 대다 탐제리지 타르베 타르바지 어다 토비어 투베르잖아 토투비어 말했었다 로두가와 제네다 베아 구줄라 빠바다 리바마도 개구지 요 말에 자당 감네 바 침발에 단다 타르바지 지 땡도 타르 타르바지인데 토투베르는 토투비어 말에 되네 다지 징베 보모 레키 마제 말에 Jimbe Pomo Laki Mazawa Tegi and Pichi Udi Pualatani and Zubo de Yankurma Suju. Zubo de Sebal Suitasona Tene, Ludukawane, Ma Doji den La Chanju Shindu the Penny, and Nyambarja Delatine, Sanji Popandi said to Tobares.
After kind of 6 years of, ascetic or, this extreme meditation practice, he wasn't able to attain what he wanted, liberation from self existence. And what remained kind of his situation was, just skin and bone, so thin through his kind of hardship. And later he was offered kind of milk porridge by one of the nearby farmer's daughter, and he was able to regain his health and then sort of move forward to what is place called, Bodh Gaya, where he sits under the Bodhi tree and able to attain enlightenment or Buddhahood.
All those sang yene, that's Sanji Gobanzende, Tendo Tare Tarba, Ungal de Dalet, that Tendo de Tarbaze, Sanji Gobanze, they do the Tomne, Jadunda, Dingi Bardo, Ekuji Suyo Marisco, Sanji. Then Suyo Mare Kariji Zavena, Adela to that Digio, CG.
Yeah,
Tengide. Oh, yeah. And Sanji Rani, Zabjito Sandumaji, Lucil to be Chuji Coine, Sula Tenjan, Core Minibe, Member Nagitalo, never jazz and Eduzma Karisungo Rezavena, Hachang is Zabjin Yachi and Empe, she Negi Nyamto Lambandilla Tene, Tandapur Zambulin, Dina Langon me. She on the Gurmebe and a choosing call a near songs. Imbayinaya, they and she Mijenda Jilla High Shevus and She Sagi and Shevanajin go to being the Kaza the Mindos. Imbayinza Dusma Chima so much in the Jaduna Dunyapo to Juba in the Sungura. Or the Neji Sumbari, they Chizuta, Varanasi Pep, or another Zambola and a bed. Katampo Demba Yi, they are taken. Dungal Shepherd Chow, Kunjung Power Chow, Gobangundu Chow, Lam Gombar Chow, and that Demba Jigi Oni, Coronate Zambola, Sujo Tomato Subateres.
Shuma to the some station. Shuma Sanima in some station. So ultimately, attaining of enlightenment, or we can say attaining of complete liberation from suffering. And he remained in silent without, giving teaching for 7 weeks. And there's this quote that Geshe was saying, he has found this nectar like, dharma, which is profound, peaceful, free from elaborations, clear light, non-composite. And if he taught, nobody would understand. Therefore, he will remain in silent without, kind of teaching it. So the point here is that, he found a teaching that wasn't exist in kind of earth before. If he taught directly, nobody would understand at that moment. So there's nobody who would understand his teaching. Therefore, he remained in silence for 7 weeks. And from Bodh Gaya, then he, moved to a place called Varanasi, as you know, Varanasi, where he gave first turning of the wheel of Dharma, or first teaching about Four Noble Truths, beginning with true suffering must be realized, the true origin of suffering must be eliminated, true path must be realized, and true cessation must be manifested. So he, start giving the first turning of the wheel of Dharma.
어두신에 다 상기 좀 된 데게 제남도 지 나바 상기빈 중국 상기 좀 된데라 두고 하래 다 단다 덴바니 가라 저게 드링기 조지 또 찾아봐나 덴바니 데 상기 좀 된데니 중바데 중사기 공도거데 nga 당부 상하란조다 소소교 지바지양 지dengi 팔베 자와라 쥐되겐지 꽃세 딜라다가 세다가랑 라니지 람 냠술랑 아니 로정지 냠len제네 도슨 로바이나 상기고만 토비여되베지 이 상기 좀 된데 지부면 뭐 상기 좀 지부면 가자 수동 수인 바이나요 제 냠len제는 로바이나 인디기 토비여되베지 temperance.
So there was like, a brief life story of Buddha, the how Buddha kind of, came into sort of existence and did his teaching. And what he has shown in that is that at the beginning, as I said earlier, he was just like ordinary people like us. And then by studying, investigating, and then later kind of really implementing what he learned, anybody can attain enlightenment.
이마이자 다 두신의 상기 좀 된데 로드가와제 상예네 로직스 발전 로직 세지다 진내 강당 강란지 주인간다 제네면도 다 상기 좀 된데 예순단이 로마 강라 강삼치니만 신나상다다 디발라도마 유네 최송의 유데베 갑라다 야베 갑라지 야보 제산 세다 대속이 딱 뭐야 제바이나 가리 국어를 제바이나 지 가르도다 개 꾸지 자야 통해 개 꾸지 매되게 어떤 거야 매되게 류라 레지 부지 시니다 야빗 부지 아니 두스 참대자 코르대자 롱대자 제도지 가져 드니지 국어를 고돌라 드니지 고도 윤산텔라테네 다 파마대족이다 민가니겠다 두스 코른 만데 또 야베 칼라 세르다 응울다 따지 림보친다면다 안지 딘디게 노 론제 예바타 이번 좀보딘디 요레 디갈라 로니 양교 로니 쇼잖아 야베 칼라 여지 경는 데스는 데바 딘디지기 토니다 지 로야게 제바다 마소나 딘디지 잡네 코나도 삼발라다 강알 시부지 자야 통야 매베 강알난 딘디 강알 시부지 태데 요레 다 쇼라바이나 아마다 미다 삼로니 유아 태비요레 로디 용거리 양교 여지 경거리 삼베 다 아칼로다 군롱세오라 다 딘디지 토니다 미가 특히나도 양교수 로니 쇼데 렌당도알라 상기 좀 된데 디기레 nga lo de yong yin wa ta lo de yong ba yin ya nga yabu khala de gi message ro ane yabu ka ne yabu photang ye ne be chilo la ne be sa khang zan ne ta ti du gi ta shingang zu ta chaju mi phog gi ta dor de na chaju da de ne mi phog gi de ni ji khang pa thap sha ji de ni ji chung na de gi dos wa ta khala yabu photang ne te nam jin long je yo ba ne jin de ne go gi mes 어두스마 렌다네 아예 담부 야볼라지 다다부 퇴운달다 상기 좀 된데 양교 로네 페아레 샤데던다 퇴운달다 야부 시부지 가니 다이나 지 포당기 지 친앙 버슨라 페 시부지 다지 다디 예포 메도단 지 쳬바자네면도 펩시자네면도 다 딘디게 다 시부지 다디 게바 제바레스 제바이나야 고 랭장니니 결혼 된디 전에 팽이 말에 사기게 뒤 숨긴도 고 잡을 포탈라 되기면 잡을 포탈라 디 칼라 되기면 치료라네 호랑이 로마테도 냠도 사기게 로마테도 냠도 아니 치료라 되기 치료라 칼라 규만이 자니 남기미 규마지 가르서거나 되나진 도스마 아니 되기 이제 도스 랭 자디올라 다 야보게지 다 나진긴도 받지니 치료라네 베 유사단다 지젤라단 때서 간도 좀 다리 제바데스.
Nice. So after Buddha attaining enlightenment, giving his first teaching on Four Noble Truth, along with his followers, he was wandering around from one kind of forest place to another. And while he was doing that, back in his kind of hometown where his father was, his father heard sort of this rumor that his son was kind of begging in a very poor clothes and wandering. And then as a parent thought that he was sort of going into a really hard life, and therefore he kind of sent a messenger intentionally to his son saying that you should come back to the kingdom that belongs to you, and we have all this wealth, luxuries of gold, silver, everything that you want, and you should come and be a prince again. And he sent a messenger, and however, kind of messenger coming back to the king told that Buddha agreed to come back, but he's not going to stay in the palace, and he's not going to have a meal of the kings. And for him, it's sufficient to have kind of a hut-like place enough to save from kind of rain and weather, and he will stay outside of the palace. And at first, kind of Buddha, his father was extremely kind of excited and happy that his son is coming back. And out of kind of excitement, he arranged very kind of elaborate kind of decorations outside, inside, in between, of flowers or the offerings. But later, when he knew that Buddha was not sort of interested in all of those luxurious entertainment or settings, king kind of prepared outside of the palace. Where there's a place to sit and meals offering to his followers. So, as said earlier, Buddha, that he's not just sits, stay outside of the palace, eat with ordinary people. No kind of luxurious king's kind of service.
Odus geneta chizuta yabu potang la lone pe neta chi yab yabu zetan se ta yung yimalan ze da tongsan goba zone yo mare titi ta kugor de dola potang do ta chusong ben do de la ta yab sen ja ben do ze de tangi ma ze de ni ging go long ta sa de teres se kari sung bare na demba ni ji namja de karan do she gore lobjong che gore ote deni namja de ha ko ti nyamlan che ba na karan zo de ne nga na jing ge ne chi tenji dewa zen de dus thoya yores dus ma sumba tela tene ya gya bo ze zang se na rab tu ya bo ze zang se rab tu chung yo mare ba ore ene tanda yum kare ndilaro
Matsab
dewa
Ramewa.
dame ma zemare dame ma de ndira tanda nga zoge jen
Tema song
digi ta kangtar yabo sangi jomde de rani gi se inanda ani chung yabogi jumbo eso kanga ani rabdu chung thama thara ani ji dajum dibu ko bat dajum dibu chidila dajum dibu ko bang dajum ko bang to bat ni chung yo res.
So as we said earlier, when Buddha came back to his kingdom, his father was there, but his mother, as you know, already passed away, biological mother at its early age. So the first meeting of the son and father, at that moment, he gave the sutra, the sutra called Meeting of Father and Son, in which, then Buddha said about, true truth. They should learn, understand, and realize. And if you do that, then, they can also attain what Buddha has achieved, through his practice. And after giving Buddha's kind of this teaching, many of his family members, and Geshe was trying to recollect the name of his Buddha stepmother, and relatives became kind of ordained, practitioners, and many of them have managed to attain what is called Four Destroyer within their lifetime. Now,
all those in the during Joji, tended to be this, the number Sanji Juni, that Ji Dembani Namjas and the Shegori Kazuarta Kachimbo Yimba. Ota Ji Dembani Botella Tene, the Lam Tapshi Nibote Nyamsu Langu Yodeba, then Yamsu Lamba Tella Tene, Sanji Yugobanta, Sanji Tomden de Rang Najin to Suma. Around so she Suzuki Kanga Latin to top you the body. Number Sanji Junite Sungores.
So with that, the today's topic, true truth, which we said earlier is the foundation or the basis in Buddhist practice, and based on true truth, of course, important, one then kind of move on to implementing the path. The path is method and wisdom, and based or relying upon two paths, one can ultimately attain Buddhahood as a result. And this is how, it was explained in Buddhism.
What in the Jinta to Shinas, Tiwayuna,
So,
it's Maji Dikutola Tanda Nesambalata, Yanjibasana Guzman. One lama would take 30 years.
yes. So that's that. We'll stop here for today. And if you have any questions, and in generally, Geshe kind of thinks that, probably all of you had already heard this already from late Geshe-las, on the same topic.
Buddha's stepmother's name was Khechok Dangmo Shimo.
Kigu Dangmo.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Kigu Dangmo. What is Sanskrit name?
Yes.
Mahaprajapati.
Mahaprajapati.
Mahaprajapati Gotami.
Mahaprajapati Gotami.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I have heard before that after the Buddha's enlightenment, he didn't teach for 7 weeks, and I don't know very much about this period, 7 weeks, and I was wondering if Geshe-la knew more about what happened during this 7 weeks.
The Shumisumba Tanda Yumsanji time, but Sayang did some bodies. Subject to San Dumachi said, subject to San Dumachi. This is the Chichi coins. Sula Tanjan Gorman, remember Nagi of the Nepal Chazi. Yumsan Teres. Could you do Dinzina? Chojin Esana to the Unibur Mazola Tabanet, Unibus of Vijira. The Unibus Digila Chu Maso and Dego Yumsan Kara is the Vena. Yumsan Tanda Teres. Sanji Tumden the energy, Tanda Porto and Zambul Indina Lati, Kaza Suchi La energy, Mashi again, and she Hamaguni and Denegate, Nelujing, Hakosonde, in a Shana Shesa Mindus. Kapdela Shesa Mindus, me maybe Kachamare, Duja maybe Kachamare, Duja de la Shevaina, go to Mingi, or Mazuina Takalo, Hajangi Ribbon number, Chi Tumbo, Chambo using in Dinichi. Mindu was it, Tanda Desungo, maybe Gimzala Tene, Matoya, Tele Laving at the mess here.
So the reason Geshe was saying, the reason is same as what he has said in that quote that we cited before, that he has found nectar like Dharma, which is then has attribute or qualities of profound pacification, free from elaboration, clear light, non-composite, and but from one perspective, 7 weeks is a kind of long time, and in this quote, what Buddha was saying was that when he said, if he kind of give the teaching, nobody would understand. It doesn't mean that he couldn't find a people. Of course, there are people, but people enough to understand, what he's going to teach. So people who are not enough kind of intelligent or wise or able to kind of sort of digest or understand what he's going to teach, and therefore he has to kind of wait. And other than that, Geshe said, he don't know.
They're chatting with Indra.
Yeah.
리바다 내 저절 리바다니 셰거다 셰바이나 배낭 아주 뒤도 버리스 단대게 나랑 쪽인 디나라 나랑 쪽 근데 밑살이하고 싶어 얘기인지도 살이하고 다 가장이 때 대상이 다지 잠불이나 개다여 되냐 살기나라 덴두기나라 배 방이 당배나 레되는지기 코랑기 다 진주지 튀고라 심바지를 살때 라바이나 혹 가져지 다 토벌라 총두고 여바이나 그 진주대 당분이네 버기 토벌들라 바 유샤바이나 총두고 말해서 그 가래서는 림바지 당부 충중지 총주되네 막 갈래 그 체로다니 총중지 주고 다 야강라 레고요라 어때 내진 지레스 다 얘기 최미송한테 사기 고랑 라 톱제 경기 또 안독이 연전돼서 사기를 톱 잡아대 람상 가서 그 제도제 늘려질라 사기기 늘려질라 두스마 뜰땐 바이나 뜰땐 네 두르기 고 로브종 제니 냠len 제 투명이 되지가 지고 말이지 가사지 매바대 하고 그래서 킹거리 사기 이 킹거 된대게 그 제가지 너룽지 매바인자 최마송 버전이 유네 치소 림베 호르가디 잠폴라 다 렘바지 되디 토메게 다 남베게 중이다 지다다 버데 중사데 담부 동알 자데 가르 하고 그래서 다데 동알 하고나 동알데 가와니 용기도 두스마 림바체니 고 칼레칼레 두스마 티비 림바체레스 인기를 성도
So Geshe was saying, it's his kind of guess and kind of using his reasoning that, for example, if there's a person who is very kind of skillful, athletic, and very famous, and he wants to kind of pass his skill to next, his kind of, student. From the beginning, it would be inappropriate to find somebody who can equally kind of sort of, like a high jumping, same height as himself. He has to go through kind of gradual process of, step-by-step method. And so from the beginning for the Buddha, it would be hard to kind of sort of, passed on to what he has attained. What he has attained is the state in which he has abandoned everything that needs to be abandoned, and state that he has acquired all the knowledge that should be, acquired or accumulated. That kind of knowledge that he has attained, it wouldn't be kind of, appropriate to pass into somebody suddenly or within a short period of time. So in another way, he was kind of sort of waiting for what we call suitable, disciple or vessel. And later, when he first had a, first turning on wheel of Dharma teaching, 5 first disciple, he starts with very kind of sort of basic of introducing, what is suffering, and then kind of next into then where does those suffering comes from. So it is kind of his, sort of technique or skill of gradual presenting step by step, to his followers.
Another question.
Okay.
When the Buddha went back to his hometown and met with his father, as you said earlier, many of his relatives and friends and people who knew him did learn the teachings, and many became foe destroyers. I'm wondering about his father. Did his father ever accept that he was the Buddha? I think that would be difficult for a father.
Understand.
Kurang bawa ki khaja da kisha den konsong la sa yap se je do de na lo la Kurang zi da nyen ze mang wuchi khaja da jume kurang to pine Kurang bawa ki khara chung de sa bawa ki ne dang lo bawa ki da su len je da lo jo ra bawa ki Kurang la da sangye la di chor na lo la khande chung de lo
바베기 das 바베기 촌나라잖아다 다 하마지 임비 주글라 소소부데 로르모지 마투가 되네 양교 소지 거르고 여바이나 아주 부기 내단 간디지 여메라 따고 말이 지당 가서 춘이래서 고 파마다 부기 제가 tinsa 여대 봐 되게 고 부디 초래인도나 부디 열시 경구 여바이난다 매바이난다 부디 구마 작바지 차 여바이난다 부디 로종 야부지 개바지 차 여바이난다 가리 유밀라 마토베 란싱이 곧 파마다 부녀님도 투데 줘바되게 그 란싱이지 가슈춤부지 연구 여바데 지당 가서 춘이래서 집어지기하래서 나 밤에 바베게 들어와라 부구초 용기인세와 나트바 다가산지다 시보지 가나 슈정부지 소시 좀 때려 그래서 다 어들라 최소네 버디 세델라다 랍도 중도 발제비 요말에 중도 요말에 가래잖아 요보 버디 냐알인데 소레스 이나야 단다 공기 마삽다 아니 마삽 랍도 중 gelongma 제벌에 아니 나마즈 계면저라 계면 gelongma 제네 랍도 중으로 당보 계면 랍도 중으로 대치도 아마데 랍도 중으로 되네 공이 보고디 센다 젠진 랍도 중으로 아니 상계 좀 전에 팹자리 주고라 tanda mazab de danyo yang seji chungbarwa de rabdu chungbare dorduna sangye chomden da kuzu nyamdu yengi tanda yabo sezang sengi segi chungbugi bu dero dule kibu lejin zayaje de rabdu o kibu lejin bayina rabdu chungbardes
Buddha coming back to meet his father after many years, this is something you're saying, something kind of nature of being a parent. It doesn't matter, what situation is your son in, when coming back after such a long period, whether he is going to be a prince or whether he is a rob thief or scholar, it doesn't matter. Just coming back to and meeting, his own son would be extremely kind of emotional and something that that he looked forward into and probably must have given a great sense of joy of meeting. And he passed away kind of soon after meeting, but probably he didn't become kind of ardent practitioner, but many of his family members did, beginning with his own wife and then his stepmother and stepmother's son, and then Rahula, and then his uncle's son as well, Devadat. So, and many of his kind of immediate family members became fully ordained practitioners.
Thank you.
If we are done with questions and answers, I have an announcement. So starting July 13th, which is Saturday, we're going to be, Geshe is going to teach Lati Rinpoche's book, Mind in Tibetan Buddhism. And that will be going out in a newsletter today, as well as will be on social media. So it will be 10 a.m. to noon on Saturdays, the second, third, and fourth Saturdays of the week of each month, leaving room for the first Saturday for Buzz's meditation intensive class, his Shamatha Saturdays, to continue. So the wonderful thing that Teneman tells me about the book, the Mind in Tibetan Buddhism, is the Tibetan source is in the very back. So this is actually kind of the first time where we'll have all that we need in one book for Geshe to teach from, and for us to follow along. So please, if you would, this is more advanced material. So everyone is invited. Everyone is, no one is going to be excluded from participation, but it might be difficult for some people that are still trying to get a good founding in the basic concepts and principles of Buddhism before entering into this this teaching. So links will be up soon for us, for everyone to register and join. And as always, I'd like to remind everyone that if you are not yet a member, you can fill out a membership form today. Just ask one of the board members present at the center. Thank you very much.
Kalunji to the Pevore, Sani Zalapada, Dijema Zalapata, Jangram Jinima Pema, Verini Majuna and Lope Masapa, Zalapakan in the Langazu, Wondagi, Salapegi, Domandeade, Melezuma the Sagins.
Yes.
And he came to Suji Nyamju Gendo Yovena, the Nyamju Chen Peroche, Asiti Dini Musu Nyamju Chematovena, Sozanani Sagi Mayanaya. Da Tadoni to the Lanyam Chebayana, Kandar, Tanga Gaza Satuyame, Ko Soto Kanyole, Tanga Gaza Sabana Sabade, Kans Gaza Sabade, the Chezola, the Chebayana, Mazola Torvich Tebayana, the Abundus,
Yes.
the Cheroches.
Yes. And another sort of announcement along with the request from Geshe. His Holiness, as you know, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is coming to United States on 23rd, and according to the sort of prediction by Nechung Oracle, for his benefit, followers, people need to kind of accumulate medicine Buddhist mantra, and so. So Wednesday and the next Wednesday that, we are going to have a prayer gathering here, because I said we are going to recite and accumulate medicine Buddhist mantra. And you can participate by coming here, as well as participate through online, or you can just, recite by yourself. But at the end, it would be appreciated if you send your counting numbers, how, it depends on your speed, of course, and how many that you can, and then we are going to submit that back.
So the mantra is like it was the medicine Buddha mantra.
Yes.
The second part of it that I don't see it as that because he's like group, so it's just a longer version.
Sayemele Zunga de la Rinduni, Tunga de Sandiris.
Yeah, it says
Kansa to Nakeo, Tunga de Sana, Tanga Manga Chagade, Ringa de Sana, Tanga Nua Chagade, Yatunda Chibaris.
It doesn't matter. There are two versions, right? Longer and the shorter one. And in terms of the meaning, it doesn't matter. But if you, recite the shorter one, you will have more numbers.
That's the most important thing.
The injimiji to the Zurdu turning also Koran to the message turning to the Masago, the Nekayomani, and so some of the Zavigi, Kamonomuchim, Kuzu Menjia la Pegore, Kamonomuche la Kuzu Menjia Lamlong, that they Maris. Jangono muche ngao la yo de deba yo de jena ba jangono ji jena che de kangala ji sonam ji da ji gewa top chimbu ji de ji me ba ina ji lama ku zirim bu ya de la ngarang zo la dewa cha go des
Yes.
do jangono muche ge da jena de zo la dewa cha go nga ju ge sonam da ga ji me ba ina ko lama di kutin nenga da kutin neda da dewa ya menza e china jangon mi ta kuzu menjela tor mini te ran nyam tu zabuling ta chi dori du semjen tamje negi nar de kyang re ngara tu kazu menza kazu dewa yin za na chi zubo de ta yin chi lule ne na za ke ku chi me za ba yin ya sabi nyomo tu sung na za de ngazo namyang ko seldo e mar sama ye por nga seldo e mi cheza nyomot nga ju ke nyomot sung na za di ko ye be inza eso kanga sel hu yore sonza dor du semjen tamje gyan ji ji ne na za kanga selalen malam ya bo des.
Yes. Although His Holiness is coming for, his medical treatment, but when you recite prayers and recite mantras and make prayers, it's not only kind of his health, but it is very much related with the his followers and people who kind of follows him and our kind of positive accumulations, merit, fortune is very much connected with His Holiness, and the more we kind of accumulate positive merits, the more it will be, beneficial for our spiritual teacher. And when you make a prayer and, primarily His Holiness, then along with that, you should kind of make prayers for people with illness, sickness everywhere in the world. And it doesn't matter what your current physical state, everybody has, we can say, the illness, disease of, afflictions, delusions, and these will stay until we attain enlightenment. So along with His Holiness, you can pray, the liberation from illness, sickness for all sentient beings. That would be good to, have your prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Melam
Kari Ravi Imba.
Kari
Ravi Kore Jindan So Pendan Dewa Mali Chumbe Ne Chere Dewa Tenzin Yaso Shape Side Pardo Tenjuro Ji Jaba Bave Chidara Kemba Kundo Sambo Deyan Teda Kunje Jeto Dalo Ji Gewan Deda Tamje Rabdu Tuzum Shebe Gewa
Tamje
Mo Kanla Chodo Maba De Tajin Geve Sawa Degu Sambo Jeje Rabdu Mo Raiki Chanjo Piano
Lancer Gabashno Mormons, the source of all happiness and benefit, lost in your person, charity, Tenzin also remain until samsara ends. Just as the Bodhisattva might usually attain omniscience in Samandava to true. So now I dedicate these years to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future, praise to the Geshe. So now I too dedicate these sources of my mind for all beings to perfect reductions. Yeah. I was, announcement. I was also thinking about studying a Tibetan language class on the same 13th Saturday afternoon, kind of for the beginners. And there will be no charge, but it's based on donation, and but the condition is more than 5 people. More than 5 people, I will do it here. If less than 5 people, I might do it at my home, and then I will offer some other advanced classes online as well if people are interested. It's just the beginning. You don't need to know anything. But yeah, so I will post through Facebook and then see if there are more than 5 people. I will start on the same day. If less than in the private,
30 people the first weekend.
And then,
it's 25,
yeah.
and then there's 50.
yeah.
Liberating the animals.
Mm.
So I think Seitar, I don't know how to life release,
Mhm.
where if you liberate the worms or you liberate fish that are going to be,
세다단에도 그렇구나. 음.
대가지.
is Geshe okay with us bringing like
네.
worms or fish?
Is it a-
Blessed for a city.
그러나 그 세단마당에 내 키우는 디그레로도 대로 하려고 했다고.
Yeah, it's okay.
세달 따와에는 아주 변한 데내로부터 가서다 심전 중중들이 개요한테 정보주에서 유시하면 세달 따와에는 시다 갑도 될라야 그 정보들을 남산 사도에 되니 심전들이 도와
Mhm.
어디네도에는 무슨 던던진의 사고지 통도가 마치 지다 소송원에 세다 당이 원인배나 자위 공론 될라 레고래 저
Mhm.
손다 그냥 가브리 가서 롱단딘 수조네 세다 당거데 빠져더니 조진이 삼전지를 pen거데 지라야 셀네 잘로들나 그냥 간디도에나 손도 당고 들지도
Yes.
제마도 말라디 강할 게 그지 민도 시켜도
Yes.
그러니까 그 세다긴도 막 뉴뉴지 마시오 말인데
So Geshe was saying, yeah, it is, he can recite the prayers. It's a short prayer, but he was reminding, although there's a good intention of releasing and saving a life, but you need to be careful if you say, pick up small animal and throw it into the bigger gathering, immediately getting eaten by another one. So just know that, what you're doing is kind of safe, and be careful of. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you be okay, and if Geshe would be okay, answer one more question?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You all can
Yeah.
go, and so.
No problem.
Are you
Ah.
sure? I am so sorry,
No problem.
So, first is a point of clarification. So, earlier you translated and, conceptual image is,
Mhm.
as a clarification, is this Denshi generic image where it's the object that's held in the mind, just in the mind, Denshi?
전지의 집어에서 남주던 게 나와라 줘라. 나와다 전지 집어에서.
나와다 전신이 자위기 집어 말했어.
Mhm.
이나 차단된 다보래 가지고 미시게 돼 로라 담보 미기 율지를 사러.
Mhm.
데스타니 제가 던지대 당고를 던지대기 지수다 율되기 또베 로직이고 그랬어.
Mhm.
어때 나와서 단다 때리지 율크랑 또베 로직으로 또바지어로
Mhm.
나와서 단다 때 똑바들 시고 그랬어.
Mhm.
자위기 던지고 그런데 똑바래 되어래. 군인 뒤에 가져왔다. 나와때 그런 율크랑 또베 로테래. 던지대 율크랑 그 던지대 던데이만 나보 샤라겐 양로지래서.
Mhm.
군이 카가래.
So the Tibetan word Nawa and Tenzin, the Geshe was saying, the short answer is these two are two separate things. And, when you look at something, of course, with the eye, and immediately, looking at that eye, you will have an image in your mind. And that's the kind of generic image. And later that kind of, that the image that stays becomes kind of, the next moment of thought. And so it becomes kind of, conceptual thought. And so the short answer is these two are separate things.
던지 되고 던데 임바 다보지 난고래데 난고래데 나와데세고 말에 나와데도 율코랑 미실게 간디 통마나진 통바되게 네바지 된 거래서 본바에도 나가서 돌들이 잡좀 죽여던 좀 되는지 여다 선배게 다 네벨로지어라 미실게 통 율데 통화되네 통화될라더니 본바데 네베게 로텔라 나와지 거래서 또바레스 이야 니가 또바레 던지데 또바레 나와데 또바레데 던지되게 율된 다보다보 그진 콜란 난고르마도 율응마도 콜란 나토고 말했어.
Yes.
지마지 마이자 던지데 던도 툴세 그렇고 다보 던 응마랑 또 뭐도 던 다보지 난경이 당보 그 나와데 당고래. 되니 뭐던 응마도 랑네바니 투고레스.
Yes.
손자 곧 또바 임바직 바레데이나 돈 응마 율응마지어라 율응마 또 뭐도 그니고 개발이어레스.
There's a differences in terms of how mind actually sort of understood the object in terms of these two. Both of these two are, we can say, Tibetan word is tokpa, conceptual thought. But meaning generality is sort of, it's it resembles the object itself, but it's not the object. And while the Nangwa, the appearance is, when you look at for example, when you look at the vase or pot, you see the shape of the, vase or pot, right? It's kind of termination. And then that image you have in your mind is a kind of appearance of that, that the immediate appearance is the Nangwa. And Junji, meaning generality, it resembles, the actual object, but it is not the actual object. Usually, meaning generality is considered as a distorted image. But you need that meaning generality. Later, you would develop on that, and then you come to the actual understanding of the object. So these are two different.
So then we use the generic image as a basis, as the object during single pointed concentration to see emptiness directly. When most subtle mind.
Teres 당보 아주 던지지 유네 도고래 대치수 또바데 네바탄 거래 되니 땡원숨 영어로마 표고래 kon 사회견 도단다고 테레스.
Yeah, so that's the sort of process. First we have meaning generality, then next conceptual thought, then conceptual thought becomes what's called direct perception. But this will come more detail in the next class that we're going to start.
Thank you.
Thank you.